Hey, it's Doc Williams, and in this video, we're going to look at basic addition subtraction with significant figures. When adding with significant figures, you're going to add your numbers together and then take the number with the least amount of decimal places as the number of significant figures. So to illustrate this, I'm going to line these two numbers up by their decimals and then add them together. So this answer would be 275. 3, carry the 1, 8. In this case, 48.3 has the least amount of decimal places, which means that our final answer can only have one decimal place. Now, although 48.3 has three significant figures and 35.272 has five significant figures, we do not look at the total amount of significant figures. We look at the number of decimal places. And once we determine that we need one decimal place, we look at the number after the decimal place to determine how we round. And since 7 is above 5, then that means we need to round 5 up to 6. So our answer will be 83.6 to the correct number of sig figs. Let's look at number 2. To help me see this better, I'm going to line up my numbers by decimal places. I am not going to put a decimal here. It would be very tempting to put a point zero. If we add a decimal and a zero, that means now that we have three significant figures instead of just two for 12. Adding these together, we have 1, 3, 6, 7, 2. So 276.31. In this case, the least amount of decimal places is none. Remember, 12 does not have any decimal places, so that means that my answer will not have any decimals. So I will round this answer to the ones place, using the next number over, which is 3, to round. Since 3 is below 5, 6 will remain the same, and the final answer would be 276. Looking at number 3, we will line this one up. And I would like for you to go ahead and pause the video to do this calculation and write the answer to the correct number of significant figures. This answer is 25628942. And since we have the least amount of decimal places as 1, that means that our answer will have only one decimal place. So we'll use 6 to help us round the one decimal place, and the answer will be 2498.3. Go ahead and line up number 4, complete the calculation, and determine the answer to the correct number of sig figs. To line this one up, we'll have 2.50, 0.247, and 0.36. We see that we have two decimal places, three decimal places, and two decimal places. So that means that our final answer will have two decimal places. So we have 701.3. And since our answer will have two decimal places, we will use the 7 to find out how we round the 0. And our answer will be 3.11 because the 7 requires us to round the 0 up to 1. We will use the same rule for addition with subtraction, where we do not look at the overall number of sig figs, but the number of decimals to determine the number of sig figs in the answer. So we will follow the same process in lining up our operations and then subtracting our numbers. 26.62. And since the least amount of decimal places is 1, that means that our answer will be to one decimal place. We will use the 2 to round the 6. And since the 2 is below 5, we will keep the 6. And our final answer will be 26.6 to 3 sig figs. Looking at number 2, 91.55, 151.2, 100.01. We see that the least number of decimal places is our second figure of one decimal place. So our final answer will have only one decimal. In this case, we will have a negative 59.66. And after using the second decimal place to round the first decimal place, the final answer will be a negative 59.7. Number 3 is 259.065 minus 105.2. Pause the video, complete this calculation, and then write the answer to the correct number of sig figs. So we will have 5, 6, 8, 3, 5, 1. And since our least number of decimals is one space, we will round this number using the 6 to have a final answer of 153.9. Now pause the video to complete number 4. To line this one up, 0.506, 1.36, and 0.17. We have another negative answer of negative 1.024. Now the least number of decimals will be 2. We have 0.17 and 1.36, both with 2 decimal places. So our final answer will have 2 decimal places of negative 1.02, since 4 causes us to keep the 2 the same. As always, thank you for watching.